pushing me closer to the edge again. The edge again. Suffocating underneath. Try to numb the pain. I just wanna feel again. Bloodshot eyes, I know I can. You pull me under. You keep pushing me closer to the edge again. Si yo no quisiera, te diría I will never say forgiveness. Tú dime como supieras si no me amas, si no me amas. You're like a disease eating away at me, breaking everything that I love, leaving me in misery. Don't call me a victim, 'cause I'm just a slave. You keep pushing me closer to the edge again. The edge again. Suffocating underneath. Try to numb the pain. You hit me like thunder. Sé que me haces falta. Y cada vez que nos juntamos me derramas lo que siempre escondo en mí. You pull me under. Even if I try to hide, try to run, you got your teeth in me and I'm tired of fighting. So give me a reason, 'cause I'm at the end. You keep pushing me closer to the edge again. The edge again. Suffocating underneath. Try to numb the pain. I just wanna feel again. Bloodshot eyes, I know I can. You pull me under. You keep pushing me closer to the edge again. You keep pushing me closer to the edge again. The edge again. Suffocating underneath. Try to numb the pain. I just wanna feel again. Bloodshot eyes, I know I can. You pull me under. You keep pushing me closer to the edge again.
What is good, my family? Welcome back to the channel. Please do me a favor, hit that like button. Please, please, please subscribe to the channel. Do everything necessary to get this thing to live long, thrive, and survive. Welcome back to the Arca Bulls channel. Once again, team, we are literally going live right now. I gotta show you what ended up happening in the price action today, because why? We had already talked about the potential upside for both AMC and FNGR, right? Well, let's go ahead and bring you to this chart right over here. Last night, we were talking about FNGR making its way all the way up to the targets of around 318, 321, 360, right? Here's the price action. Went all the way up to what is it? It literally went up to 318. Now that 318 target is very specific. Why? Because we were talking about the upper bound of the first standard deviation from the daily backtest of volatility versus momentum. And what's curious here is that I told you that, you know what? I know we already got that 33.40% right. All good. We got it. But since it still has upside to go, we were sitting right around here, right on the stochastic momentum indicator. This volatility was sitting right around here at around 74%. We still had further to go. So the upper bound of the first standard deviation told us that we could go up 68.52% from the fire of the signal, which was right here at 187. From 187, it told us $3.18 on 68.52%. And guess what it did today? Dead ass on the money, $3.18. No give, no fucking take. This is data, you guys. This is statistics. These are literally freaking mathematical figures that are playing out right before your eyes. And remember this as well. The freaking backtest for the daily time frame on FNGR was performed months ago. I haven't seen this chart in forever. I just noticed that, oh, damn, we fired off the signal. It looks like we still got further upside to go. The upper bound of the first standard deviation met it, and we are dead ass on the money right there. And you can just hover over the candle here, right? And you can observe on the OHLC right up here, the open, high, low, close. So you can see for yourself that 318 on that daily time frame is absolutely met and perfectly right on the money with the stats. Now, of course, I'm not going to leave you just there, right? Remember this, that the 318 was confluent to this zone here. What is that yellow zone? Well, if we go ahead and zoom out, that is your descending broadening wedge on a weekly time frame, right? I want to just go ahead and get this one out of the way for now, right? Okay, so this area here, that resistance that we've been riding here for years and years, right? That met at $3.21. This is where I was telling you guys, you know what? There is an absolute confluence at the regression line alongside the statistical upside of 68.52%. We got that upside. We got the resistance from the regression. So this was the combination of statistics and psychological targets. This is absolutely what I teach you guys. Do me a favor, make sure to get in touch with me at ArcMastersCourse at Gmail so that I can get you enrolled, okay? I'll make sure to give you all the information needed, right? The syllabus, the disclaimer. Reach out to me. Stop making excuses. Make sure to get your trading career moving. All right, you guys? So now going back to the play, right? I'm going to give you the targets. This is going to be just a little bit shorter of an analysis, right? Because we already played it out. We already are observing this play out just literally like we said last night, right? So here's the play. We noticed that we were going to get that upside run all the way to that 318, right? Good. We got it. Now, the play was to tell us that we were going to pull back to this zone here. The first zone being the higher probability of 226 to 236. The second probability would be down here at the 50% of the prior biweekly bar of $2.12 to 221. Me personally speaking, I'm just going to be clear with you, okay? My buy side or my entry is going to be $2.35, okay? Not financial advice. I am talking about simulator trading and for training purposes only, right? We are paper trading here. I want to make sure that you are as well. Got to protect our communities. We got to protect each other, right? That is what I have here. That is the criteria that I'm observing. I just need you guys to be very aware over how price action works within these tickers, okay? Very, very dangerous times. Let's go ahead and check out AMC now, all right? Let's see what it has in store for us, because we definitely got some of those upside probabilities that we were observing from yesterday, right? So here we go. Yeah, nice. So we were observing a loading zone. I got to admit, the loading zone here did not meet, right? But, oh, actually, you know what? I think I have it right over here. There we go. And this chart right over here too, right? Nice. Okay, yeah, so some of the upside targets that we were talking about, explosive upside on AMC, sure, it's starting. That's all good. But remember, guys, we were talking about some resistance up here before we got some pullback that would likely lead us to the 505 to 497. Remember, 505 to 497 is kind of what we were observing here, or 499, whatever it is, we were observing as a potential entry area, right? So if we do have further upside to go, of course, we have some zones to look out for. You already know some of those upside. Well, here it is, right? Some of those, this was the resistance that we kind of looked at ish, right? Not the most perfect in the world, of course. Volatility can take over. FOMO can take over. All kinds of other metrics can take over that can literally invalidate a chart. But for the most part, we were pretty damn good, right? Remember, the thesis here is that we would get that upside pump, but yeah, we would come back down to see if we can gain some entry anywhere between 505 to 497. Why? Remember that this is Monday, okay? What happens on Monday? We got the weekly close. So that weekly candle is suggesting some type of pullback, right? And now the bi-weekly candle, damn, not even that, right? So the bi-weekly candle is the one that we're trading on right now, okay? We've already made that top side all good. The 50% prior bar retrace on the bi-weekly, let's see where it's at. We mark off that bi-weekly candle, right? This is the previous one here. Let me get rid of all this stuff. There we go. This would be marking off a target of around $5.04. Okay, that would be the prior bar's 50% retrace, right? So that's just what I'm saying. Okay, so if there is a prior bar retrace, then yeah, we may be able to see, mind your 50% here, right? We may be able to see a 505 to 497 based on the bi-weekly and maybe even the weekly trend, right? So the weekly trend, this is the prior bar. Let's go ahead and measure that 50% retrace of that prior week, because this is the new week that we're trading here, right? So when we do that, we can identify that the 50% of this would be around $5, which is the average that I'm getting here. This is the average, right? 497 to around, again, 505. That's why I'm saying that we would potentially find a loading zone down into this area here, right? So please, please, please know that I absolutely mean well when I'm talking about a potential upside continuation on this. Now, the next thing that I want to observe with you here is actually looking like a bull flag, right? And one more thing, the prior bar on the weekly time frame of AMC is definitely a hammer candle. Right at the bottom of the trend, printing a potential reversal signal. That has a price objective as well. Let's look at that price objective for AMC. Okay, so if we're going to observe a price objective for that bull flag formation, then, oh, you know what? I got to draw it all over again. I definitely see that we have a little bit of upside here on this candle here, right? So that top to the very bottom of the formation, then we apply it to this top right over here. Okay, so some of the earlier targets are suggesting a potential 553 in line, okay? Now, if you guys remember yesterday, we were waiting for a potential signal on the daily time frame backtest, okay? So what is that? Let's go ahead and pull up the daily time frame and remind you about the backtest that we performed here with volatility versus momentum, okay? These are all of our samples here that we've gathered for whenever volatility has crossed the 15% of contraction with an upside pivot. Of course, this hasn't happened just yet, but when it does, we are going to be ready with some data, okay? That data, sure, it has a, what is it? Let's go ahead and pull up the, there it is, right? This is the data right here. 56.25% probabilities of getting a 44.69% move to the upside. 48 total iterations and 27 of which have been guessed correctly to the upside. All good, right? So that's what I'm talking about here, right? But the signal has not fired. We need to make sure that the signal fires via the volatility component, which is the histogram, the little light bulbs, right? And also the moving average, the teal line. That's got to break the 15%. If it doesn't break it, If it doesn't meet that criteria, then it's not gonna play it, okay? But I already have the back test and I'm ready for it. The reason why I'm saying that this is likely to fire is for a bunch of underlying reasons. Number one, we are observing the time frames from literally the bi-hourly, right? You can see that the bi-hourly is already expanding from all of this critical contraction. Contraction in volatility means that no one is interested in buying it or selling it. It's just at a limbo. You can consider it a limbo, right? All good. Now, let's go to the 4-hour time frame. Here's your 4-hour time frame about to fire its own signal towards the upside. And out of all this contraction, let's go to the 6-hour time frame. 6-hour time frame is also about to fire its signal as well out of all this contraction. 8-hour time frame. Check this out. Upside bias on that already. But we still have an hour to close this 8-hour bar. So we're going to tell pretty soon how far this volatility signal reaches. Guys, when you have multiple time frames like this, 2-hour critical contraction, 3-hour contraction, 4-hour, 6-hour, 8-hour, 12-hour, all this contraction, daily time frame even, you have the bi-daily time frame, 3-day time. Guys, when that happens, there is usually a parabolic move upside or downside. Last night we were talking about this and I spoke to you specifically about a potential upside starting soon. Okay? And that is what you're catching right now. Okay? You are starting to catch the potentials of an upside continuation from the immediate short term. Now, I also did speak to you about when AMC sees a potential upside, very likely we're going to catch the upside on GME as well, right? So GME did get a little bit of an upside pump, but now that we're getting this retrace on literally the entire market, of course it's going to face its pressures towards the downside. But we were already ready for that. Please remember that we are closing the bi-weekly and the weekly bars, okay? So this bi-weekly bar, right now, we're sitting at 50%. That bi-weekly bar right now, it's just under it, right? So we are still within the process of reaccumulation or distribution, right? Guys, these are types of things that kind of happen in the markets cyclically, right? You got to remember this. I talk to you guys about this specific criteria all the time, but I want you to take it I want you to put it down in your notes, okay? Because this was a clear example of it, right? So this was our prior bi-weekly bar. This is our brand new one. We just started this today, right? So remember this, 60 to 70% of the time, you'll get a 30 to 50% prior bar retrace, okay? That's typically what happens. Any bar closure, daily, 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute, 1 minute, right? I gotta say that within the immediate short term or the micro time frames like your minute candles and your 5-minute candles, yeah, the probabilities of that, they dilute a bit, right? But as you move on to macro time frame, that's usually where things start to kind of look a little bit better. The probabilities start to favor, right? So weekly time frame already kind of looking for GME, right? It's kind of looking a little bit like a bull flag too. So if it is favoring a weekly time frame bull flag, let's speculate on that. What would the upside target be on it? Well, let's measure it up. It would be here at around 24.86. But I got another reason for you as to why we're facing this downside for the immediate short term, okay? Let's look at this now. We are actually in the process of closing 2 major time frames. This is your monthly candle. 4 days to close, guys. 4 days to close the monthly. After all of this upside on the monthly, it tends to decompress, right? The 50% retrace on the GME would land somewhere around $20.77, maybe $21. But I gotta tell you that we are at support right now within this monthly gap. This literally this monthly low, right? All of those things indicate that we could be observing an immediate short-term downside, right? Now, what about this? Bi-monthly candle, right? Here's the thing. The bi-monthly candle is closing in 4 days too. But It's the monthly candle that's going to suggest its own downside for now. It might not reach all the way down to its 50% at around 21 bucks. It might not look for that. It might not do that. We don't know, right? It still could reach 1950. Who knows? We don't know, but higher probability for me would be anywhere between 2156 to around 2070, right? So if we get that downside on this, the decompression of the bi-monthly takes over. Now, what does that mean? The bi-monthly is an upside decompression. Check this out. We measure the bi-monthly like this, which we already have, and the upside to the 50% of this is 2486. We're sitting at 2189 right now. Okay? So that's the thesis for now. Right? We're gonna potentially decompress on that monthly time frame. At some point, the bi-monthly is gonna start decompressing itself, and it'll start coming back up to its 50% retrace, of which would be around 2486, but it says 2429. The reason why I'm saying that there could be the range between 2426 and 2486 is because of these candles here. We have the tops of these candles here. They're confluent with the 50% of the prior monthly bar, bi-monthly bar retrace. So this would be our play. Check this out. Hold on. This is the retracement back up to around 24, right? 2480, 2490, whatever that is. Right? Now, the thing here is that still we have 4 days to go. I am not going to say that this is going to happen immediately, but we're also in the process of potentially retracing this bar's 50%. That would be an interesting move because that's suggesting around $38. But like I said, the signals are presently there with all of the contraction from the immediate short-term timeframes. All of that is there. We just don't have a catalyst. So this is why I was asking you last night, do you know or can you think of a potential catalyst? People said earnings, right? People were talking about earnings. All good. I'm not sure that the earnings are going to be able to take it there unless they announce some crazy thing with the freaking $4.1 billion that they have sitting there, right? Now, Jules, what is Teddy? Explain to me. So, okay, so there could be a potential merger, right? So this is something that, one of the Arca Bulls trading members here have been talking about. It's a Teddy merger. Okay, so if we get a merger, that could be a potential catalyst here to send this thing to the upside. But when would they announce it, right? I think that they would announce it once the markets have a clear upside. And that's not too far from now. The SPY right now, sure, it's capitulating. It came down to the hourly time frame, almost confluent to that EMA 55. But let's see what it really is, though. What about if we look back, first of all, on I think the daily time frame already kind of, oh, well, there it is. Check it out. Daily time frame on the SPY, this is the day. This is your prior day. And what is the 50% of that prior day? Well, let's mark it off. Saying that the 50% would be located right here at 560.22. Well, guess what? This dropped down to where? 560.16 and it's bouncing. 60 to 70% of the time, you will get a 30 to 50% prior bar retrace. And this is what you're observing on the daily time frame right now. New daily candle, prior daily bar, 50% retrace, 50% retrace. Now, what complicates things is that you do have further time frame closes. Sure. You also have the closure of the weekly time frame. So that means that if it reaches the 50%, it could be confluent to maybe, it could be indicative of maybe a drop to 558.44, but it doesn't mean that it is. Remember that the criteria is 30 to 50%. If I'm observing the pullback here, that looks like a pretty close to a 30% here from my perspective, right? Looks good. And now the next thing is that it still has a bi-weekly close as well. So the bi-weekly is a lot larger of a potential retrace. That bi-weekly would be indicative of reaching this candle top at a 50% potential close to it. I would say maybe 46%, 44% around there. $550. I'm not going to say that that is going to happen. In fact, we can start looking at volatility versus momentum to see if that's even valid, right? I will say that we are going to make some major time frame closes in about 1 hour. Now, what I mean by that is that in 1 hour, we're going to be closing the bi-hourly time frame, right? Which is bouncing off of the EMA 21 right now, the 4-hour time frame, and the 8-hour time frame, all simultaneously, right? So let's observe what just happened. The 8-hour time frame looks like it made a very close retrace to its 50% of the prior bar. The 50% of the prior bar could be located at around 559.88. We dropped to around 560.21. Not bad. It could still fall a little bit lower, sure. On an 8-hour, I think 559.98 may do it. To reach the 50%, that is. That's it. Okay? So that's going to be closing in 1 hour. What happens is that as you start approaching the close, more like in the zones of, I would say, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, this large bar would start retracing and decompressing towards its 50%. It could happen before, but it's 8 hours long. Remember. Okay? So this means that SPY is giving me a potential upside. So if we are experiencing a decompression towards the upside, then let's look at GME. See if it does have that potential as well. Let me pull up the 8-hour time frame on this. Okay, the 8-hour time frame is still kind of suffering down here just a little bit, right? But what is it? What is it? Remember what we just talked about. It has its own rules. The monthly time frame. So if we reach that monthly time frame, we were talking about a 50% retrace to around that 2060, 2058, whatever that was. That's still part of the criteria. But as soon as it reaches it, I'm not saying that it's gonna. As soon as it reaches it, the bi-monthly time frame takes over and it meets with the SPY's upside. Right, for now, it's still struggling. As soon as we start reaching 20 minutes, see it says 59, maybe 15, maybe 10 minutes, this will start decompressing upside. At that time, I expect GME to also start decompressing towards its bi-monthly retrace. The bi-monthly 50% upside could be $24 to $25. Remember, right now Hydra is telling me that the Qs are at a tweezer bottom on a 5-minute. Right? Nice. So there's already signals for a potential upside. And also remember this massive bar up in here, team. All right, so I'm just saying, guys, to please be aware of the markets and how it's trending, okay? We need to keep an eye also on the IWM, so why don't we go ahead and do that for AMC, right? IWM has the small caps, right? So let's take a look at this. Oh, nice. Zillow met our target, or very close to it. We were suggesting a 58.33 on Zillow, and it came up to 58.30. Hell yes, let's go. I am done with that play for now. Let's go ahead and take a look at the IWM. I love it, team. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming on out. I know that it must be a little bit of an inconvenience, right? Because I'm not usually streaming at this time. So do me a favor, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, do everything necessary to get this thing to pop off, right? So let's look at the daily time frame here on IWM and continue our analysis, right? So as you can see here, we gapped up on the IWM 221.93. What typically happens is if the prior bar still has proximity, if it's close enough proximity to the opening of the new bar, we would potentially draw down. We would potentially come back down to that area. So I think the more immediate support here on the IWM daily could be right at around 220.38. So if I'm suggesting a continuation to the downside on the IWM, specifically coming down to around 220.38, then that would also meet the criteria for both AMC and GME. I'm sorry, and FNGR, right? So remember, AMC, I'm looking at 505 to 497 pullback for entry. And if we're observing the other play of FNGR, we're expecting a drop to maybe 236 to 226, right in here. So that falls very confluent with what we're observing within IWM as we speak, right? So let's go ahead and validate that downside first. Do we have further downside on the IWM? Well, let's take a look at our upper time frames or our smaller time frame, sorry. Okay, here's your 3-hour time frame. It's pivoted towards the downside with expansion. If there is expansion in volatility, what does that mean? What the hell does that mean, Arca? Well, think of this as your throttle or your gas pedal on a car or on a motorcycle. This is throttle, right? So we're quite literally throttling upwards. We're throttling harder with a downside bias, right? So that literally means that we're hitting the gas towards the downside, okay, on a shorter time frame. The 4-hour time frame is already kind of corrective, but it hasn't fired off the signal, but it is expanding. So we're, kind of curving here, and it still has 55 minutes to go, right? Let's go to the hourly time frame. Okay. Well, the hourly time frame appears to be a little corrective, right? We're starting to get a little bit of an upside here, but we were already expecting that upside. We were expecting to see if we can come back up to maybe, I would say, 519. Pull back from 519 down to 505. Let them rip, right? I'm not saying that it's going to happen, okay, team? Because now the 30-minute time frame just opened with a downside bias and completely expanding. So the immediate short term is showing us some downside. 15-minute time frame, 10 minutes to close, downside bias with all this throttle, right? All right. So just letting you know, right, that there's still downside to observe here. Look at that. We just touched. Look at that. 510. It's dropping, right? Just so you can kind of observe how momentum and, if we can use volatility in a directional manner, then we would use the pair together, right? All good. So, guys, please remember, let's see, K-Spec and, what you talking about, Steve? Oh, thank you, Quinny Baby. Thank you so much for telling the team. Please, guys, yes, hit that like button. Help me out. It does help the algorithm, or it does help me with the algorithm, right? We'll go ahead and appear in the search, in browse, and all that good stuff. But yeah, it looks like the room is starting to fill up pretty nicely right now. Let's go ahead and continue the analysis here. All right. So remember, guys, this is a temporary downside, and I will speak to the shorts right now. Please do not overstay your welcome, because my personal bias for AMC is incredibly bullish. Okay. This pullback here, it feels like the end of the world for a lot of people, but I will tell you it's part of natural price action. So if you are short this asset, I would consider risk off immediately. All right. Please watch out. Right. So if we're to continue to the downside, how far would it go down before we start seeing upside? Well, it looks like, damn. Well, look at this 8-hour time frame upside. This upside was read from this prior bar upside, and now we're even higher than that. And it just got all that volatility. There is a probability here that the 8-hour volatility signal may spike up towards around maybe 11, maybe 10, I would say 10 to 15% spike in volatility. It might be a little aggressive to do that. So when we have expansion, and look at the bias, upside, we just spoke about expansion. What does it mean? We're throttling, we're hitting the gas. And what direction does the 8-hour show us? Upside. That's where I'm waiting for price. Price action here, we already determined the upside. All right. But this also, the 8-hour time frame breaking above the 15% would also be criteria for a backtest. In fact, I could even push it down to 10%. If I push this down to 10% break, all I have to do is measure historically how many times volatility has broken the 10% of critical contraction and suggested the upside. So if we get the upside, how many times did we get the upside? And then how far of an upside did we get during that 10% break of criteria within volatility? Well, that's where the statistics come in. That's how I was able to determine some potential upsides within the daily time frame criteria. All we do is just backtest, and we backtest, and we collect data and backtest yet again. All right, guys, it's no problem. We already observed that potential upside. We got it for both AMC and GME. I'm sorry, actually even GME. Right? Temporary upside before it started declining in its own price. Now, nice. Let me bring this down to the immediate short term. I want to see what that's looking like here. Okay, now please remember that your 4-hour time frame is what we're observing here. Okay? 51 minutes to close. The farther down this goes, the easier it will be. Remember, we're talking about a potential $20, $57, $20, 60 something around there, okay? But when the 8-hour and the 4-hour start to show up within that 20-minute range, maybe 15 minutes to 10 minutes to close, this is going to start decompressing, right? The 4-hour time frame is suggesting a decompression level of around 2205. And the 8-hour time frame is suggesting around that same target too for 50%. Right? So just keep that in mind, guys. Okay, let's take a look at the SPY. Did it come down any further? Well, it looks like it kind of did. Right? So that's going to be everything suffering. What about the IWM? The IWM too. We were just talking about the probabilities of coming back down to these targets here of 220.38. It's happening before your eyes. Okay, guys, that's the way things kind of work. This is it's cyclical, okay? Even within the immediate short term, we have to observe when timeframes close, okay? Like the reason why we were able to point out the weekly and the bi-weekly close. I will say this, that it did get a bi-weekly close. And confluent to the 50, actually, let me go to the weekly. Yeah. And confluent to the weekly 50% retrace is a weekly gap between the areas of 217 to 47 to around 216.90, 216.84, around there. I'm not saying that we're going there, right? I'm not saying that we are going there because we have many other areas in price action to consider some support zones. I'm just saying that if we do consider continuing to the downside, those would be the targets. Right? It's not telling you that it is going to happen, okay? So if we're going to get further downside here, expect it from AMC too, which again meets our criteria for potential entry between 505 and 497. Heads up on those targets, guys. Make sure to have them aligned right there for you, right? Okay. Now, I will say that, one more thing here. If you want to know, full-on discretion here, okay, guys? I opened a position on FNGR at around $2.65. I didn't even take profit at the 318, even though I was up around like 8%, 9%. It was barely anything, right? So pulling back from that upside would mean that I would be able to enter more risk. I entered very lightly, okay? So for those of you that want to know where my potential entry is, remember, we are talking about trading purposes only. This is not financial advice, and I'm talking about simulator trades, paper trades. I'm looking for entry at $2.35. $2.35 is where my limit is right now as we speak, okay? It doesn't mean that it's going to meet it, okay? Because there could be a bounce right off of that 247 prior bi-weekly bar close, okay? I'm just saying that if it does reach all the way down there, that's the area where I think I would want to buy. We talked about this play just yesterday, and we marked off our areas of interest within the chart from yesterday's analysis too, okay? Again, it doesn't mean that we're going to get it. It just means that that's mine, okay? It doesn't have to be yours either. Now, there was a play that I think a few people were talking about. What, MNTS? Like, somebody was just talking about that right now, right? So MNTS, what the hell is that? Okay, so daily time frame on MNTS, damn, dude. That's freaking not bad. And actually, it kind of looks like a bull flag on a 12-hour. Holy crap, dude. This thing just went from 97 cents all the way to 138. What the hell? Dude, if this thing has a bull flag target, let me just kind of mention it real quick, right? Just so that everybody kind of knows. There's two targets here. There's a FOMO candle and not a FOMO candle, okay? I'm going to tell you the difference. This candle here could be a FOMO candle. We could omit something like that sometimes, okay? And this one here would probably be the better outcome for a bull flag breakout. the way we do it is that the higher probability one, we apply it to that top side and we get a target of around $3.11. The lesser probability one, we do the same treatment, except this one gives us $4.60. Let me see the 4-hour time frame on this. Does it have upside? It hasn't even read it yet. 45 minutes to close. Let's see the 3-hour. The 3-hour is shifting. Oh crap. Yeah. The hourly time frame is shifting. The bi-hourly is shifting. And the 3-hour is shifting. Holy crap, dude. There is a probability for this continuation. Damn. Guys, watch out. Watch out. MNTS may actually get upside continuation here. I would wait for the 4 and 8 hour closes to kind of happen here, because that could 50% retrace to around $1 and $1.08. $1.08. I will. Oh, yeah. That's hold up. I'll give you one more target just in case there's anyone. I'm just observing whatever the team was talking about in the chat. I'll just go ahead and take a look at it real quick and give you guys some higher probability retraces, right? So I actually think it might be like this. 114 to 108 potential pullback on an 8-hour time frame retrace before an upside continuation. Okay, so just in case you guys want to hear more of this or observe it some more, right? I'm going to just go ahead and include the receipts here so that you know what's going on. What's going on? Yeah. All right, 108 to 114. And the upside probability on this could lead to some, of course, guys, we have resistance levels literally. We have resistance. I'm just going to mark them off, damn it. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm just going to give you the areas of resistance, the higher probability resistances, of course, right? This would be one of the zones here. Take profit zones. Just watch out. All right. This is going to be your, going to be 153 to about 169. Mind the 50%. 161. Okay. Next resistance, of course, is going to be right at 205. Of course, after that, then we have our major targets to look out for. This is running at about 19 cents average true range any day that it opens or closes. Seeing that probability, I think that there could be, I would say a 4 to 6 day play. All right, so sitting at 138 right now, still has a little bit more upside to go. 153, maybe 149. That would be right around the areas where it would start finding some resistance, right? So watch out for MNTS. It's doing not bad. All right, so now I think, sorry guys, was anyone in the chat talking about another play? I think somebody had mentioned, somebody had mentioned another ticker here in the chat. I'm not sure if I missed it, right? But if I did, please go ahead and remind me, and we'll go ahead and take a look at that as well, right? Let's go ahead and keep an eye. Let's see, Arca, I think MNTS is going to hit your target now. Oh, is it really? Holy crap, it's going straight for the target. Nice. Good deal, man. I love it when things happen right before your face. It's starting to get a little head shake, I must admit. Okay, so just be careful. All right, Scott, let's take a look at Carvana. I'm down. Let's see. Carvana. All right, here. Oh. There goes look at. AMC's coming down. We just said, look at it. We're talking about entry signals within $5.05 to $5. Mind the 50% at $5.02. $4.97 was another area that we spoke about, right? But just as we experience downside in the broader markets, the pullbacks of the prior bars, just wait for them, right? Okay. Let's go to Carvana, because this should also be experiencing some pressure to the downside because the entire market is experiencing that. Okay, great. So as far as the buy daily signal, it hasn't fired off. But what I will say is that I may have to re-backtest this to observe higher probabilities within a 3-day time frame. But I gotta show you one more thing. Now, in the, let's see, the 4-hour, maybe the 6-hour, or the, oh goodness, man. Okay, so all of these timeframes are getting ready for a potential upside. I may have to backtest the 12-hour time frame here volatility versus momentum, right? As soon as this thing starts breaking above the 50%, or I'm sorry, the 15% with an upside bias, then that could be something. I think Carvana's just waiting for the markets to repair because the markets are still showing their downside. And here you go. We're still moving lower, right? So remember, guys, just remember, it's still part of the daily retrace. It's still part of the potential weekly retrace, all of those things. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen. Here's another little tip and trick. At 8:30 PST and 11:30 Eastern time, 11:30 market time, you're going to get Euro markets closure. 15 minutes after the Euro close is usually when the markets start to shift to an upside. Why an upside though? Because the markets are selling off during this time. That's an algorithmic shift that the broader markets tend to go to. Okay? So that algorithmic shift can happen as early as 11:45 a.m. market time. So yeah, if we're experiencing downside right now, that means that in 40 minutes or less, maybe 30, I would say 25 to 40 minutes, I would say within the 25 to 30 minute realm, the 8-hour time frame will start to decompress on the SPY. And it'll start coming back up towards 562.15. When that happens, the earlier time frames are then going to start experiencing their upside as well. Okay? So wait for it. Now let's go ahead and check on MNTS and see what has happened since we last spoke. Well, look at that. We're getting a lot closer to our target of 153 literally at the area that we're observing here, a potential take profit, right? Just wait up for it. Because if we do get that target here, yeah, that's just going to give us a bigger 50% prior bar retrace. Right? Pretty nice here that we can observe the higher probability resistances, right? I love doing this with you, team. I love doing it, okay? The only reason I do it in private, that I do it within the Arca Bulls trading team with them, is because that's where I can be more open, right? I can be more honest, and I can speak a little more freely, right? So when I'm out here, I have to watch what I say, right? I have to kind of tread carefully, tread lightly, right? Or else, you know, you're going to have people over there stomping on your boy. You're going to have people over there just getting mad at everything, you know, and then you got this guy saying over here, just relax already, man. Right? So just know that if you do join the Arca Bulls trading team, you'll get, you know, you'll get more of an open Arca. Right. So, guys, last night we were talking about FNGR's buy daily time frame, and I did backtest that, and I gave the information to the trading team as soon as the signal fired off today. Okay. So, well, just like I said, right, I spoke to you last night, and I said that I would give the backtest information to the trading team. So here is the criteria. I'm going to read it to you now, which is just massive. All right. So buy daily time frame on FNGR, this is where we back tested volatility versus momentum, and the criteria was the buy daily time frame, right? The break of volatility's 15% of contraction with both the moving average and the volatility component. That's what we got right here. We broke above the 15% neon green line with both the moving average and the volatility component. That's the criteria here. Measuring this historically has led all of these samples, right, has led to this data set now. I'm going to explain it to you. Here we go. Buy daily time frame backtest critical contraction to expansion for an upside bias. We have a total iteration count of 12, 8 of which have been guessed correctly towards the upside, giving us an upside probability of 66.67%. The average move for FNGR, when this criteria that just fired off, the average move is a 133.09% upside over the span of 44 days. Now, I do have a standard deviation, however, that's pretty large. So the 133.09 is the average upside. Sorry, the 146.69 would be the standard deviation. If we decline the 146 from the firing of the signal, which is right about here, the signal fired literally today at the open of the buy daily at around 258, 254, around there. that would take us down to zero, actually negative values. So that's not going to be useful for us. We were able to identify support zones already, and I'm still waiting for mine. I have so far a $2.65 average on FNGR myself. Okay, so if we are to suggest the upside, let's talk about it. 133.09% upside leads to a target of $5.94. The 146.69 would lead towards a target of $6.27. If we start continuing to, towards the upside in a very, very volatile manner, that could lead, remember, these are statistics, they are not certainties, okay, guys? We could lead a move to a 279.88%, which is, or 79%, which is your upper bound of the first standard deviation. That is leading to 961. And curiously enough, there is a target using the upper bound of the third standard deviation at 573.18%. That's leading towards a target of around 1330. I think I'm going to go ahead and talk about the 1330 a little more, though, because there is something there that's pretty curious. This. The topside take profit for a descending broadening wedge is about $13, $12.90. And the 4.618 golden mean from a weekly closure is $13.12. So you can see how much rhyming there is there already. Right, again, team, that's, look. This is moving, an average true range is very small, okay? So let's take a look at the stats. Let's look at the data cells. Yeah, this is, oh, wow, it expanded already 4 cents on average true range. So yeah, this is moving at about 23 cents per day, okay? That means that if it's a $13 target and we're at 265 with a 23 cent average, you know, that's going to take its time to get up there. It would be a 3-week play or something like that, right? Maybe 4 weeks. Whatever that is, it just is what it is, and the data is suggesting as such. I'm not saying that it is going there. I'm telling you that the data suggests it, and our potential plays are led to higher probability resistance levels above. Again, if you don't know how I trade, I am not the one to hold plays all the way from the firing of the signal all the way to the very, very top side. I am not that trader, you guys. I am a trader that looks for my profits, you know, a little sooner than not, right? So just keep that with, you know, just know that, okay? So I want to also, for those of you who are brand new, I want to also point out that yes, while the bi-daily time frame is suggesting a minimum or an average move of 133%, I want to also remind you that I spoke about the daily time frame backtest taking precedence here. And just as a last touch right here, the upper bound of the first standard deviation backtest on the daily time frame was leading towards 68.52% from the firing of the signal, which was at 188. Measuring 68.52% from that firing of the signal back here on August 12th, Monday, was leading towards an upside target of $3.18. And look at the candle today, 318 on the dot. All right, guys. So that literally is how your math works, right? Statistics, guys. It's a probabilities game, right? And we were talking about an 85% probability that we would get a 33.40% upside with a 35.12% standard deviation upside, which led to about $2.48 from the firing of the signal at 188. Data happens, guys, and the backtest happens. And I want to show you how to do that. In fact, master students, this message is to you. If you don't remember, on Saturday, we are going to be learning the footprint model, which is quite literally this. Volatility versus momentum. The forecast max, we're going to be learning it this Saturday. And now, strategy students for today, you're going to get buy formations. Okay, so let's just go ahead and make sure that you are present for the next forever here, because these times are going to be critical for your education. All right, guys, so make sure to get in touch with me at ArcMastersCourse so I can get you enrolled to the beginner's charting course. Okay, and trading, which is going to lead into strategies, which then leads into executions. Okay, guys? So, yeah. But I really appreciate everybody for coming on out, guys. I'm going to go ahead and cut the stream here. Make sure to hit that like button on your way out. Hit me up here for your education. Join the Arca Bulls trading team, and we'll do good, all right? So I have all the targets in there for you. I have everything in there, all right? So check this out. Nick is saying, Arca, you the man. Today was my first day in the Discord and already made money. FNGR, you are the GOAT. My bro, thank you so much for sharing that with the team. I absolutely appreciate you saying that, dude. Thank you, my brother. I hope that we can continue giving out some pretty good information here, right? So guys, remember, now we're touching 257, right? My criteria here is to enter around 235. All right, guys, so just remember that. Keep that with a grain of salt, as big as the earth, on your back, as heavy as the earth, right? And I think everything will be cool. But with that said, team, sorry. I appreciate everybody for coming on out. Let's go ahead and just kind of close this thing off right now. And I will get back to you sooner or later, right, team? I love you all. Please be safe, and we will talk very soon. Please take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, because I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. Never, ever, ever, ever. I need you to do your own due diligence, and everything will be cool. But with that said, team, I wish you well, a very, very good rest of your day or night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios!